Well, hello, friends. Glad you could join us for one final time in the CCRL Elite Tier season. We're in the heart of the Ardennes Forest tonight. We are at the Circuit Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for what should be a fantastic final round of this season. And what a grid we've got for you tonight, starting on pole with a time of a 1:42.663 is that of DJ E Flat in the Williams, Johnny Damon in second, about 2/10 behind. It'll be King Pro Player starting third, 3.5 tenths behind. Angry Walrus fourth, Reimer fifth. Sixth will be Charlie Golf. Seventh will be Merck. Eighth will be John the Prince. Ninth will be that of R. Manson. 10th will be Jazz. We'll call him Jazz. Jazz BHOJ23. We're going to call him Jazz. That sounds about right to me. 11th will be Sepulveda. 12th will be that of Jabor. 13th Bongit. 14th only behind by about 1/100th of a second is Owan 14th and Anyute, rounding out the grid in 15th. So, Championship Wednesday this is, although, albeit it's not exactly a special one, as all of our championships have been decided. Reimer has won the Drivers' Championship. The Mercedes team has won the Constructors' Championship, with the Alpines finishing in second in said Constructors' Championship. I guess the battle now currently for third. The McLarens lead the battle, but the only problem is that we do not have any of the fourth place team on the grid. There are no V-carbs represented, I don't believe, on today's grid. Let me just double-check my notes, and yep, I'm absolutely right. There's not one V-carb on the grid today, so the McLarens are probably wrapped up third as well. Once again, as far as the driver standings, as we said, Reimer is that top spot. Champion, CCRL, King Pro Player. In second, finishes, or goes into today, 78 points behind. DWCJ does lead in third, 135 points behind. Battle currently is, I guess, for fourth, the most relevant battle that we have between Charlie Golf and the McLaren, currently sitting at 219, and Merck in the Alpine, sitting at 214. But here we go. Lights are turning on now for the final time this season. 15 cars, 44 laps in Spa. And we're underway. DJ E Flat, I think, gets off to a pretty halfway decent start there. Johnny Damon not going to be able to take him around the outside. Walrus and King Pro side by side. Oh, they're going to stack up there. The Mercedes have gotten into each other. King Pro Player was earlier on the brakes. Reimer didn't expect it, and there was definitely contact there. And now Johnny Damon side by side with DJ E Flat as they look to go up through Eau Rouge and Radion, and they've sorted that one out, thankfully. As they make it towards the top of the hill, it seems as if for the time being everybody has gotten through okay. Although, drag race down the Kemmel Straight now, heading in towards the chicane coming up here, and Johnny Damon has gotten around DJ E Flat as they make their way now through the Lacombe chicane and through Malmedy. Now, apologize in advance for the French that I have. It's not very good, I'll promise you that. Into the Brussels corner, then to the no-name Speakers corner, I guess as it's called now. After this one, this left-hander coming up here, as we do seem to have everybody pretty much sorted out here. Then down the hill into the double left-hander at Puhan. This is usually a fun corner. Doesn't really always get taken correctly, as Merck wanted to have a slight peek to the inside of Charlie Golf. But Charlie Golf has not allowed him to do that. Heading into Lafong now. Another little right and then left flick as they head into Campus and Stavelot. There's your strategy, 20 to 28. That's your medium. Soft to mediums. We didn't see anything else. That's fine. Soft to mediums, 20 to 28 out of this 44-lap Grand Prix. That's good news for us as they exit Stavelot and head through Blanchimont coming up now. Very quick left-handed corner, but you don't really want to go side by side through here. That usually doesn't end well. And then in towards the bus stop chicane at the end of the racetrack. Let's see if anybody is daring enough to make a move here. We do have some takers at the back. I think Sepulveda wanted to have a slight look around John the Prince. Didn't really have it that time to be able to make it happen. But, as it turns out, after the opening lap of the Grand Prix, there hasn't been that much moving. CRS has been enabled. They will get that exiting Eau Rouge and Radion. Oh, DJ E Flat has gone round. That's on the inside of La Source. He doesn't appear to have hit anything, which is good, but he is now down to the 11th position. He'll have to go through Eau Rouge side by side with the Ferrari. Oh, contact once and twice, and only just as he been able to hold on to the car. And that car has unghosted himself right in front of Anyute. And DJ E Flat, who started on pole, is now firmly at the back. What a preposterously poor start for the Williams now, as they make their way out of Malmedy into Brussels. Charlie Golf down to the inside of Reimer. A little bit of a lock-up there for the McLaren, but it looks as if he's going to set the Mercedes back. So after that, we're talking about drivers who have gained and lost. Johnny Damon and Angry Walrus up at least one spot each. Angry Walrus being up 2. Charlie Golf up 2. Sepulveda up 3. Bong is the only other driver that's made multiple positions gained. DJ E Flat, of course, has done that, but in the opposite direction. Although what I will say, and this is good for DJ E Flat, two things very critical here. Number one, he doesn't have any damage, at least visible. And he's also not very far away from anyone else on the grid. Of course, it's about a second gap to the next car in line, but this grid has not broken off from each other yet. That's good news. Merck and Reimer side by side as they make their way towards Blanchimont now, and it looks as if the Mercedes of Reimer is going to get himself back out in front of the champion. Once again, heading into the bus stop chicane, Johnny Damon does lead. We'll have a look at the tire strategy really quick. Mediums for the top 2, and only the top 2. Reimer's on them as well. 3 cars out of the top 5 on the medium tires. King Pro on the hards, Charlie Golf on the softs. The majority of the grid otherwise seems to be dominated by those on the soft tires. Everybody except Jazz Jabor and DJ E Flat have gone soft for this occasion. Those 3 remainders have gone on to the mediums. Up through Rouge and Radillon now as they cycle their way back around this famed and feared racetrack, definitely. Down the Kemmel Straight now. Let's see if Charlie Golf, he's going to have a quick look to the inside of King Pro player. Well, maybe a slight bit of contact there. I think that's why Charlie Golf's backed out. He didn't want to continue and maybe make more incident there potentially with King Pro player. Didn't look like obviously a lot of contact, which is good, but still. As we do appear to have the Red Bull of Owa around to the back. He will now cycle his way back to 15th. Once again, thankfully, I don't believe he's hit anything. The only problem is I'm seeing here is for DJ E Flat has actually lost quite a bit of time to the back end of his teammate Jabor, as that's another Red Bull round. This time it's Agnote. So, double dosage of disaster for the Red Bull team. As Angry Walrus, we're only on our 3rd lap here, has already picked up a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. As we see Merck here trying to get up closer towards Rapid Reimer. The Mercedes driver currently the, once again, reigning and defending undisputed champion of CCRL Elite Tier. As they make their way through Blanchimont and heading in towards the chicane once more, I think what we're going to start to see is really, now that maybe the... Oh, I was going to say, well, that is not what I thought was going to happen, as we do now have front wing around at the back as well. That was a terrible sequence of incident there. A side-by-side, Manson and Sepulveda into Lasor. Sepulveda missing front wing. Bit of a slide there for him. I'm just trying to see how many cars were affected by that spinning McLaren. Definitely Sepulveda, maybe Jazz. Up through Rouge and Radillon now. It looks as if Jazz has been able to get that one to be okay, but that was a very rough incident there, what we saw. As we do see now a lead change as Angry Walrus will get around Johnny Damon. We did see what I thought was going to start to see these cars slightly be a little bit more tame. There wasn't enough room to the inside of that McLaren. He's gone around and has stacked up a lot of the cars behind him, and that's resulted in some front wing being lost for at least that of Sepulveda, maybe more. DJ E Flat currently in behind his teammate now. This will be an interesting story to look out for, to see if DJ E Flat can actually get his way back up towards the top end of the grid. Of course, he had a very chaotic second lap, which resulted in him seeing towards the back end of the grid. Now, maybe we'll see if that will change. Blowing it to the back end of Sepulveda. It doesn't really look like a move is in the cards quite this time. And I think Sepulveda's gone round. Yes, he has. Oh, and he's lost the entirety of the front wing. We've got a full safety car on track. Well, he's lost that one. Going through what I believe is Le Font. Not rightly sure where he's lost that front wing. Pinpoint exact, but Sepulveda, terrible incident for him. Now missing the front wing, the entirety of it. We do have a safety car on track for the accumulation of debris. I don't believe it's actually on the racing surface, but they have called in the safety car nonetheless. We do have a couple of takers for the pit lane, as to be expected. John the Prince being one of them. Bong it coming in as well. DJ E Flat behind Sepulveda, behind Owa, Charlie, and, well, it appears Agnote has stayed out, so he'll make up a good couple of spots here. as he struggles to keep himself under Delta. He'll make his way actually up to that 9th spot, it seems, as we've got several cars once again into the pit lane here. Hard tires on for both Bonga and DJE Flat. John the Prince, Owa, Sepulveda have all put on the mediums, and Charlie Golf has now put on the hards as well. So a bit of a fun opening 5 laps there, and well, to make it better, the grid really didn't start to spread apart from each other until we had a couple of backups there, but they'll be bunched up again here. Safety car on track. I'll step aside until we get this sorted. So the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. We haven't had any more takers for the pit lane, aside from the ones that you've just seen. Bongit, DJ, John the Prince, Owa, Sepulveda, and Charlie Golf. Those are the only couple of takers that we have had. Angry Walrus is the only car on the grid who have picked up a time penalty for whatever, what's the word I'm looking for? For whatever violation they've made. I guess it's a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Since the beginning of the race, Angry Walrus has made 3 spots. The second and third have remained the same. Currently, the biggest mover is that of Agnote, up 6, Jabor up 4 himself. Should be a fantastic restart of this. We'll begin on lap 7 of 44 here in this 100% distance Belgian Grand Prix. Angry Walrus will get us going here as we make our way through the bus stop chicane and onto the pit straight once more. And the green flag is now back in the air, but Angry Walrus slightly tentative that time to get back on the throttle as they make their way heading in towards La Source. Nobody appears to be making a move at it this time. Maybe the Haas of Jazz, well, he had a slight look to the inside of Manson, nothing more. Maybe will that allow Jabor around the outside, maybe to the inside, not going to happen. They filed their way out of La Source and head down the Support Series pit straight and up the hill through Eau Rouge and Radion and down the Kemmel straight they go. Remember, DRS will not be activated until the next time by, so they will have to go on pure pace, pure wits throughout this lap. Jazz has not had a good go through Eau Rouge and Radion. Jabor and Agnote have settled past him quite easily there. Johnny Damon gets within 2/10 of Walrus, but is not able to make a move. In through the Lacombe chicane and now out in through Mal de Didao. It appears that still everything is slightly calm, although Johnny Damon had a quick look around the outside of Angry Walrus. He has decided against it. Bongit and John the Prince will go side by side through the Brussels corner. And they will sort that one out. John the Prince will claim the spoils of that victory, the 11th position. It's just slightly rude when I put it like that. Through Puhan they go, exiting the corner now. Johnny Damon wanted to have a look to the outside. Angry Walrus rather shut the door in his face as they make their way heading towards Campus and Stavilo now. King Pro player also in this battle. Reimer slightly on the outside looking in. He's actually more under pressure from the Alpine of Merck going through Stavilo. Let's see if Reimer can get a good exit here and challenge, or if Merck has gotten a better one. And it appears, I'm just looking at this now, Merck has actually lost a bit of the front wing. Yes, he has. The end plate on the left side has actually gone missing from the Alpine. But they're going to be wheel-to-wheel through Blanchimont, and it looks as if Reimer has sorted this one out. But Merck is going to maybe have a look to the inside. No, he thought against it in the end. However, Jazz will try the outside of Agnote in through the corner, which will put him on the inside, as Jazz is now going to pick up a 3-second time penalty. He's gone a little bit too sharply over the inside of the second part of the bus stop chicane, and has now got a 3-second penalty to his name. Reimer now losing position. He has lost both to Merck and Manson, exiting La Source. I'm afraid we didn't quite get a look and see what happened there, but that car is still on track. It doesn't appear it's hit anything, but it's now down 2 positions since it previously was. I'm thinking maybe did he spin the wheels a little bit getting on throttle? Oh, it appears. Is he missing some front wing there as well? It certainly looks like it. Oh, Johnny Damon, well, we only just saw that, has gotten around, I think, Angry Walrus, but goodness me, that car was nearly all 4 tires in the grass. And Reimer does appear to be missing front wing. I wasn't wrong about that. He is missing the end plate on the left side as we make our way down through Brussels now. John the Prince and Agnote, those two were separated by only about half a tenth not long ago. It seems they've got it sorted. Sepulveda being overtaken by Owa going through Brussels there. Through Puhan they go. Johnny Damon does have about a 5/10 of a second lead over Angry Walrus. Remember, 2 cars on grid with 3-second penalties, Walrus and Jazz. Both of which, well, I think Walrus picked his up going through Eau Rouge. I think Jazz picked it up going through the chicane last time by. As they make their way through Campus and Stavilo now. Let's see if King Pro will be able to make a good lunge at Angry Walrus here. Remember, Walrus on those medium tires has some pretty good pace, as well as Damon for that matter. King Pro on the hards, but is still holding strong. Reimer seems to have shed the pressure from the oncoming Merc, it seems as if. Jabor is actually more or less pressuring the Alpine of Merck now as they make their way through Blanchimont and heading into the chicane now. It appears that no challenges will be made this time by. Charlie Golf is within a tenth of Bung, and it looks a little bit far back to try anything here. Oh, but he will. He'll try the right side. He'll switch down to the left. The Ferrari on his line on the way out. Charlie Golf does not get away all that much better, if at all, but they will be wheel-to-wheel, side-by-side into La Source. The McLaren will have to go the long way round, and he will attempt the long way round. On the throttle they go, and Charlie Golf still side-by-side. Man, this is brilliant here, as we're only 9 laps in, still wheel-to-wheel going down the support series, pit straight up the hill through Eau Rouge and Radion, and Charlie Golf has got that one sorted before it was deemed unsafe. Merck has gotten round Reimer. Walrus got within a tenth of Damon there, wasn't able to make it happen. Merck now up to 5th, Reimer down to 6th. He's lost a good couple of positions here. Matter of fact, well, only one since the start, but he was up to 4th not too long ago. He is now down back to that 6th spot. Jabor getting back in this battle, and hey, look who it is. DJ E Flat back up to 8th, and I would say firmly in this battle now for the top 5. Of course, if and when he does get around Merck, he will have another 2.5 seconds to climb back up to Manson. So that might be a little bit tricky, but he's on those hard tires. He'll have that pace for quite a long time, and mind you, that he is one of currently, 6 cars who have already stopped for an additional compound of tire. He will not have to fit a different one now. He can go back to, he can keep it on the hards if he wishes. He can try to go to the mediums or maybe even the softs at another stop. It's absolutely possible. I don't think these drivers are going to be too apt to actually take a 2-stop strategy. It may be the only way to do it, we'll be honest, but I think it definitely, if these guys would rather go 1 stop, if they're able to, they absolutely would. Into the chicane they go. Walrus still about half a second behind Johnny Damon. King Pro in this as well, although King Pro not exactly for the time being playing all that much of an attacking role. He is on this battle. He is trying to peek his way into the fray here, but I don't think he's really willing to send it quite yet. Owa, I think, has had a little bit of an error finding his way out of that final corner, as Bonga has taken that spot, what's seemingly rather easy. Through Eau Rouge and Radion they go. It's only 0.2 of a second between the two. King Pro player too far back to play a role for the time being. Damon parks it in the inside. He'll slightly drift to the inside. He'll end up exactly choosing the left side, as Walrus to the inside he goes. In through Lacombe and up to the top spot. Oh, maybe was there contact there? Johnny Damon has had to go wide going through the Lacombe chicane. Was there contact there between the two? It didn't really look it, but Johnny Damon had to take evasive action and go into the runoff, and he's thankfully he's exited the corner ahead of King Pro player. King Pro will be slightly upset that he's rejoined the track ahead of him, but still, I feel as if that's all fine. I mean, there wasn't any immediate danger. I think King Pro was far enough back for Damon's re-entry to be safe there, and of course this is still well early days in the race. I don't believe we should be complaining about something like that this early on. I will say for the time being, I'm a little bit surprised that the pair of the Willies have not mixed and mingled with themselves yet and swapped themselves around, as I think DJ E Flat, well, I was going to say he's the quicker driver. I think he's definitely the quicker driver on pure pace, as Damon and Walrus are going to sort this one out before they go through Blanchimont. Johnny Damon's gotten around the outside of the Aston Martin in question. What I was going to say is I do believe I do believe DJ E Flat is the quicker driver on pure pace. I think as far as tire strategy is concerned, it is probably the correct idea to have Jabor out in front. DJ E Flat will not be willing to eat up those hard tires quite yet, as once again now we only have about a 1/10.5 separating the top two. Anute has now got a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. Has he either been bumped at the chicane or has he had to go off? Either way, he's picked up a tenner for not taking it correctly. Up the hill through Eau Rouge and Radion they go. Still wheel to wheels. I think finally now the Williams will trade places. King Pro player is much closer this time, but I think still might be a little bit too far back. Angry Walrus, is he going to have a look at Johnny Damon? He'll choose the inside. In through Lacombs this time, and he's not going to send it quite yet on the Sauber. Merck did get within about a 1/10.5 of Reimer, has not been able to make anything happen that time. Charlie Golf has gotten around Sepulveda, that for the 12th position. Owa now getting around Bonget very similarly. Top three exit Brussels and exit the no-name corner now down the hill through Puhan, and it looks as if King Pro player really starting to try to get himself back in this mix. I think he realizes that openings are happening here. He can see that the top two are swapping positions and battling, going through the Kemmel straight and heading in through Lacombe and Malmedy after that. I think that's going to be King Pro Player's best bet, is to really try to go 2 for 1 there and take both of them into the Lacombe chicane. Although I will say again, for King Pro Player, he's a very smart driver. He's not going to take an unnecessary risk quite yet. I think he's got the pace to do it and to get both of these drivers ahead of him, but I don't believe that would be a wise decision quite yet. Just because you could do something doesn't mean you can't. Or doesn't, sorry, just because you could do something doesn't mean you should. You know, it's a bit like getting one of them chocolate advent calendars for Christmas. You could eat all 24 days worth of chocolate in one go. You probably shouldn't. There's nothing stopping you from it, let's put it that way. Not the best idea. Exiting that final chicane, Charlie Golf is within 3.5 tenths of Sepulveda. Jazz is within about half a second of John the Prince. We'll get back to them in a little bit. We do still, once again, have a 3-car battle for the lead of the Grand Prix. Angry Walrus, I think, has gotten a much better go of the Rouge and Radion section now. Johnny Damon this time will choose the inside. He's chosen the outside of the past 3 occasions. He will choose the inside of the circuit this time into Lacombe, and he will not be able to defend against Angry Walrus. King Pro Player follows behind and watches and tries to get maybe some reconnaissance, I think, is what King Pro's doing here. If he's getting this close to the back of him, he's not used one spec of his energy store as well. He's at a full 100%, as the 2 drivers ahead of him below 50. So these 2 guys are definitely using it in attack and maybe defense as well, for that matter, as King Pro Player has actually only right now using it under 90%. He has switched it to hot lap, which we don't often see. DJ Flat, well, I was going to say he's gotten around Merck there. He has, technically. He's gone well off track to do it. I'm not sure if that was an error there. Maybe there was contact. I mean, it is quite easy to go wide at that Puhan corner. He'd probably have to give that place back, wouldn't he? He's left the track and he's gained an advantage. So I think maybe what King Pro Player is doing now is he's kind of building some recon on the 2 cars ahead of him. He doesn't want to have to make an immediate move happen if he doesn't have to. You know, again, you're going to have to deal with DRS on these guys behind you. If you get around him now, of course, it's still going to be like 30 laps to go here in a little bit, but I think realistically, King Pro Player knows that, and that's why he's been slightly hesitant to make something happen. The only thing I know with hesitancy is this. You could... I forget who the famous person was, but indecision is better... sorry. I'm a total mess right now, that's all right. Indecision is definitely worse than making the wrong one, let's put it that way. So King Pro Player, by sitting here and not really taking advantage of the opportunities that may be presented to him, I think he's losing opportunities as we speak. One mistake from King Pro Player, and it's going to be over for him. I know the 2 cars ahead of him are on completely different strategy. I think that might play into it as well. That's why King Pro isn't trying as hard to get around the 2 ahead of him, as Reimer's gotten around Manson. Jabor getting around Merck. Well, they're side by side. John the Prince watches on. Oh, he's going to try to slide it around the outside now through Malmedy as the Haas of Jazz watches on, and they're still going to be side by side heading into Brussels. Jazz will break early. The Alpine slides slightly to the left. Still wheel to wheel they go, and I think only just now is the Alpine firmly ahead of the McLaren, at least for the time being. Good little battle happening there. And I think this might be another reason why King Pro Player is actually not that much attacking the 2 cars ahead of him. Put this on for size. 4.5 seconds back to the 4th place car of Reimer. Of course, let's put it this way. Reimer, despite being the series champion, does have a front wing missing and didn't qualify that well by his standards either. He did qualify 5th, which is slightly off for him. And, now he's got damage in his way as well, which is going to affect cornering. It's going to affect braking, which, by the way, 2 very important things on this circuit. And, I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing such a kind of down performance for him right now. So we've got 30 laps to go left in this Belgian Grand Prix. So far, we've seen at least one safety car, that being for the damage sustained by Sepulveda. His front wing had decided to hit the ejector seat off of his car after a spin going through, exiting Puhan, going in through Le Fond. I believe I think it was just on his pure error that is where that's happened. Merck to the back end of Jabor, John the Prince to the back end of Merck. This is a very good battle happening here, as Damon will get around Walrus going in through Lacombe. And oh, look at this, DJ Flat not having DRS. The Sorry, DJ E-flat getting around Manson. That's happening ahead. 3 cars trying to go into 1 at Lacombe, and the McLaren will be, unfortunately, the car that does not escape that one the cleanest. He was side by side with Jabor and Merck going into that corner. Jabor did not have the DRS in that exchange. The Alpine and Merck wanted the inside of the Williams. John the Prince wanted even more inside. That is Owa has spun round. That is a retired Red Bull. That is a safety car. Exiting Brussels corner, he's got on the power a little bit too soon. That car has spun firmly to the inside, and is now, his day is done. What a massive turn of events here. Our second safety car of the day. As now the question remains, what do our drivers decide to do? This is a little early still. I think if you're not... If you are on the medium tires or the hards, this is too early of a stop, I think. If you're on the softs right now, I would consider it. 30 laps to go. Johnny Damon. It'll be his call, and into the pit lane he goes. Agnote will pick up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Angry Walrus decides to stay out. That's a bold decision. I think this might now be one of those decisions that Johnny Damon has actually made on his own here. He's not really set the tone for everybody else. This is a decision that he's made. It will be to the hard tires. And when I say that, again, I talked about this before, is how when you are the leader of the Grand Prix, you are now making the decisions, strategic-wise, for everybody behind you. Well, I will say this. There have been a couple of cars who have stayed out, but the majority of which have actually come in this time. Let's see what tires are being fixed here. It will be fresh hard tires for Johnny Damon. It will be fresh mediums for Manson. For Jabor, it will be the hards. For Jazz, it will be mediums. For Reimer and Merck, it will be the hards. Agnote pitting as well, fixing a front wing, I believe. And I want to say he's going to be going onto the hards as well. No, he'll actually choose mediums for this time. So, only 2 cars left yet to stop. Angry Walrus and King Pro Player. Both of which on the 14-lap-old mediums and hards, respectively. John the Prince and Sepulveda, as well as Bong at pit at the last safety car. 10-lap-old medium tires for Sepulveda and John the Prince. 10-lap-old hards for Bonget. Hey, we got another safety car here, another break coming your way. We'll join you once the safety car sorts itself out. So the safety car will make its way in at the end of this lap. While we were away, Agnote has actually picked up a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, this being under safety car as well. As the great Bill Engvall would say, here's your sign. No, I'm just playing, it happens. As we make our way through Blanchimont here, about to begin the 17th lap of the Grand Prix, let's go over our time penalties. Walrus, Sepulveda, Bonget, Jazz, and Merck on 3 seconds of penalty. Agnote does have a drive-through to serve for speeding under the safety car. He does also have at least a 3-second time penalty that we know of. Tires go like this. The top 4 cars, 3 of them, currently reside on the hards. Only 2 cars on track have yet to stop. That is the top 2 of Angry Walrus and King Pro Player. As we make our way out of the final corner again, safety car has made its way back into its rightful place at the end of the pit lane, and we're underway. Angry Walrus does have over a second advantage over King Pro Player going into Les Sources. This seems to be one of those times the safety car doesn't really bunch up the grid. Angry Walrus has guessed well and has been able to put some ground to the cars behind him. Sepulveda now up to that 6th spot. Remember, Sepulveda was the reason for that first safety car where he went off coming out of Puhan, and, the front wing decided it didn't want to be attached to the car anymore at the expense of the barrier. Anyways, as we make our way down the Kemmel Straight, I'm wondering if we're going to see any amounts of movement being made here. Doesn't necessarily appear like we are for the time being. Jazz could find a move at Bong it. Nah, a bit far away. Not going to quite happen this time. As now our Manson, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. His first of the day. As now, Jabor has had an off here. Yes, he has. This is going off, exiting Lacombe. In through Malmedy. That's a slightly odd place to have gone off there. Doesn't appear that he's hit anything. The only thing hurting at the moment is his pride and his talent, potentially. As they make their way out of Speaker's Corner down the hill through Puhan. It appears, and I will say this, now, I'm no weatherman. I'm no David Attenborough. I will say that immediately. What I will say is this. It is getting quite cloudy. I have not seen any messages saying that we're due for some rain in this event. It is, however, Spa. It is Belgium. It is possible. That is the bottom line. As Sepulveda to the inside. I think maybe took a little bit too much of the grass there. John the Prince was able to get around him. I'm a little surprised it's happened there. I think that must have been due to error by Sepulveda. That, again, it's a very odd section of the track to have made a move like that around the outside. Anyways, as we make our way through Blanchimont and over towards the chicane here, is Armanson going to have a look? He'll choose the left side, and Sepulveda's going to outbrake him. Well outbreak. As we make our way down the pit straight, DRS is obviously activated now. They'll get it going down the Camel Straight after All Rouge and Radion. And someone who won't have to worry about that is Ingrid Walrus. He's got a 2.5 seconds back to King Pro Player, who will actually be under threat from DJ E-Flat. DJ, welcome back to the top 3. He's made his way back up top, and now can be on his way back to claiming his rightful position in that first spot. But he's got Angry Walrus, one of the quickest drivers I can think of in CCRL history. And I was going to say King Pro Player as well, but he's dispatched of him rather easily, it seems. Charlie Golf could be next in line. He'll have a slight peek to the inside. Nothing's going to happen of it there. Otherwise, we do have about a 2-second gap between Damon and John the Prince. Sepulveda in this as well. And what I will say is this, we do have a hefty portion of cars on 3 seconds of time penalty now. I'm hoping that we're at this is going to be one of those races where everybody picks up 3-second penalty, so we're back to normal again. Agnote has served his drive-through. He does reside on 6 seconds of penalty, now currently 13.5 seconds behind the next car of Jabur. Burke is going to push quite wide there through Puan, even had quite a bit of a lift and maybe a downshift as well. That was not enough to get that car and to keep it within its optimal grip range. As now, oh, that's a big slide for Sepulveda. That, well, surprisingly, is not his day done. That was a hefty hit to the inside. That car is also not even really missing the entirety of the front wing. It's missing quite a lot. But that is, I want to say, a carbon copy of what brought out his the first safety car earlier on in the race. He's done it exactly again. That car now backs it into the fence on the other side. And, well, that day is going from bad to worse. And just when you thought Sepulveda was going to have a good recovery drive, it does appear that not even the safety car will be able to save him this time. Now the 19th lap of the Grand Prix as we make our way out of La Source. It's interesting now, they've actually added the gravel trap on the outside there. Remember in the olden days it used to be that was just a tarmac runoff, which we did see drivers take from time to time. It was actually more often than not. Now, I think what it's really done is funnel these cars back in through that first corner and not allow any room for error. Jazz now is going to have a slight look over to Armanson. He's not quite going to be close enough. Merck is actually going to get round Reimer. That Mercedes of Reimer is struggling today, as Sepulveda has now retired. Unfortunately, that being in the pit lane, that's a car I really thought was in contention for a top 5, maybe even a podium today. And unfortunately, that will not be the case. Top 5, all within DRS range of each other here. Then it's 3 seconds back to John the Prince, followed by Manson Jazz, who is currently breathing down the neck of Armanson. Then about a 1.5 seconds back to Merck, followed by Reimer, Bong, and Jabor. And then about 18 seconds behind them after having served his drive-through is that of Agnote. Making their way in through Campus and Stavelo now, Johnny Damon brings up the rear of this queue and looks to make some sort of maneuver if possible. Of course, these cars ahead of him, they won't have DRS going here through Blanchimont. This is still an overtaking opportunity. If you get a good exit there out of Stavelo, you might be able to make your way around. And now, more than ever, it's absolutely possible. We'll take you along with Jabor here. Back in the old games, I'm sure you remember this, there was just an awfully placed tire wall exiting that corner. Used to result in DNFs all the time if you hooked that curb wrong. As we'll see what Agnote is going through it now. It used to just kind of be right over here on the outside, and that would catch drivers out by surprise more often than not. John the Prince now entering the pit lane. That's a little odd. I wonder if this is a front wing change. No, this is a retirement for John the Prince. They have seen something they do not like with that McLaren, and his day is done. It's unfortunate we're not even halfway through this race. We are down to a 12-car grid after having started with 15. Some of these cars, I think all but 2 cars all of the retirements so far have been due to their own decision. I think except for Owa, I think his retirement was a genuine crash. Yes, it was. So that is the only car we have seen retire due to actual incident. The other 2 have flat out given up, which is quite a stern way to put that, I'll admit. And I'll be fair with you as well. As a driver, it's not easy seeing yourself 20 seconds behind the next car. But again, this is a 100% distance Grand Prix. this is a race where anything can happen. And again, it does look like we could be on the precipice of rain coming up here. It doesn't immediately look like that, I'll be honest. It actually seems to have gotten slightly lighter than it was previously. But still, anything's possible. So as they exit campus in Stavelo now, it appears Johnny Damon's still within about 2.5 of a second back to Charlie Golf. I will say it's a good little battle going on here for this top spot, but I'm afraid DRS train has potentially it formed itself here now. We do have a pretty much two distinct packs of cars running the top 5, and then pretty much everyone else. Question is that if and when Angry Walrus gets overtaken, how will he defend, and who will be the ones taking advantage? Because, of course, you do have 5 cars in this train here. Only one of them is at the significant disadvantage with no DRS. That is, of course, Angry Walrus. John the Prince has now left the session, I'm afraid. Up through All Rouge and Radion, and it does look as if Angry Walrus has gotten a good go through that corner, but DJ E Flat with DRS. I'll tell you what, he's going to be under some pressure here. Johnny Damon having a look at the back end of Charlie Golf. Charlie tries to move to the inside to maybe look and get around King Pro Player instead. Well, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Charlie Golf wanted the inside over King Pro Player, didn't really have the room or the time to get it done. Johnny Damon had to react and be able to get around Charlie Golf, and he wasn't able to, as he kind of got backed up with Charlie Golf's reaction and trying to get to the inside of the Mercedes. So, to make a long story short, nothing happened. We'll put it that way. But as they make their way through Puhan now, what I will say is this. Charlie Golf is actually starting to fall slightly off the pace for the rest of the top 3. Angry Walrus still ahead, albeit only by about 4.5 this time. Rather than the about 6 we saw at the beginning of this lap. Charlie Golf, again, does appear to be losing time to the back end of the top 3. King Pro Player finds himself in a similar scenario as which he had before. He is just monitoring closely the activity of the top 2. DJ E Flat, I think, genuinely has the pace to take Walrus right about now. Is he going to do it? That's going to be the question. Will he have to wait to have a better opportunity, or will Walrus give that opportunity to DJ E Flat via the way of pit strategy? Again, Angry Walrus has not pit since the beginning of this Grand Prix. He is on 21 lap old medium tires. King Pro Player, much of the same, although on the hards will be a little bit easier. Those are the only 2 cars left on the grid who has not stopped so far, as we do have a yellow flag at the back. That is Agnote. He's gone around, I believe, going through campus in Stavelo. It appears that car has at least regained its composure, but I fear we might see another retirement here, as he is 30 seconds behind Jabor. DJ E Flat to the inside of Angry Walrus, and he's going to have that one not easily. Still side by side, still wheel to wheel going through Lacombe, and finally DJ E Flat does manage to get ahead of Angry Walrus, who in turn has picked up an additional 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. He's up to 6 seconds. That is a massive, massive moment there for Angry Walrus, and now is at one of the biggest disadvantages on the grid, because not only have you got 4 guys around you that do not have time penalties, arguably just as quick as well, even the guys behind them are only on 3 seconds for the majority of it. You got to hope for an additional penalty by Jazz, Manson, Merck, and Bongen. Otherwise known as not a good position to be in, we'll put it to you that way. Jazz is putting up some good laps here, but he's not necessarily closing into the 2 cars ahead. He's more or less stayed quite stagnant, about that 2-second range. Of course, is under pressure from R. Manson behind him. And I think Jazz, well, he's done quite well so far, starting that 10th spot up to 6th. Not too bad, not bad at all, as we do now have Angry Walrus being overtaken by King Pro Player going through Blanchemont. That was a slightly unexpected move there. You don't often see cars make things happen there, nor do you see it into the chicane. Johnny Damon well to the inside of Charlie Golf, has a quick look on the brakes. It's not going to happen. Exiting the bus stop chicane they go. Johnny Damon will now have a look around the left side. DRS activated, of course, for both cars here. Wheel to wheel they go into Lasource. The Sauber is going to have to go the long way around. That McLaren stays to the inside. Acceleration goes the way of Johnny Damon. And up to 4th. Nicely done. Meanwhile, King Pro Player is now outside of a second on DJ E Flat. King Pro Player is now at the disadvantage with no DRS to the back end of that Willie. DRS activated again. Charlie Golf will this time try the inside of Johnny Damon. Walrus will get round King Pro Players. Made that one easy, as well as the McLaren. Around the Sauber, well, I say easy. They haven't sorted it yet, and there they go. So, once again, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Walrus has gotten back round King Pro Player. DJE Flat back to the lead of the Grand Prix after his incident on the second lap. Damon overtakes Charlie Golf. Charlie Golf gets him back almost immediately, the next DRS zone. Well, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Sometimes it's about these stages in the Grand Prix and these full-distance Grand Prix that I do sometimes cast. It's about this stage where sometimes you just frankly lose interest in what's going on. Of course, we're at halfway. That'll happen this time by. Actually, it's already happened, to tell you the truth. But anyway, we're past halfway point now. And I'm still enjoying this race. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of moves going on. Charlie Golf has just had a bit of a kiss to the gravel on the outside of Campus and Stavilo. It is now under heavy pressure from Johnny Damon, who around the outside he might go, wheel to wheel. And it appears the Sauber, is he going to get round safely? Yes, he will. Also, try this on for size as well. It does look like rain is absolutely possible now. You start to see the clouds like this, the sun and the reflections don't happen anymore. You do start to believe that we could get rain about to fall. King Pro Player into the pit lane now. Is this strategic? We see King Pro Player go to intermediates here. That could tell us a lot. Well, he won't. He will go to the medium tires. Those hard tires, of course, he started this race on. And so that kind of ruins my hope for anything regarding wet weather, but that's okay. Although you never know. Still could happen. Hey, up through Rouge and Radion now. Merck is only a tenth of a second behind Jazz as they make their way out of the corner and down the Kemmel Straight. Merck is going to have that outside relatively easily, and he'll have the spot as well. Reimer will now go to the inside of R. Manson. Charlie Golf will get back round Johnny Damon, back up to third. Walrus has picked up his third 3-second penalty of the day. He's now up to 9 seconds in penalty. Otherwise known as not good. As we do have a yellow flag at the back, Agnote seems to have gone around. This is entering the pit straight. It seems he's not hit anything, and the track stays green, although now 50 seconds behind King Pro Player. I think what we might start to see now is we're going to get to the situation. You don't often see it in league racing like this, especially when we're, in leagues that mainly run 50% races. You don't often see it happen now. We're in a stage of the race where rhythm matters so much, as Merck is going to get overtaken by both Reimer and Jazz here. We're getting to a point where you start to see rhythm matter so much. It matters a lot in a 50% race, don't get me wrong. But now, you've made it to this 24th, now beginning the 25th lap of the Grand Prix. You only just now, a couple of laps ago, past halfway, you've got another regularly full distance Grand Prix, at least full that you'd be running. It's up to the question now, is that which driver will mentally outlast those around him. Because again, it is a difficult job. Not only is it difficult on a track like this, where you got so many nooks and crannies that can catch you out by surprise, you've now got to deal with that for double the time you already would. And again, not to mention, it does look like rain is possible. I don't know, I could be wrong. Maybe rain isn't possible. Maybe it's just cloudy. Clouds happen. Possible. Reimer to the inside of Jazz Boy. Jazzboj? I don't know how to say that. Jazz? We'll call him Jazz, that's fine. Up to the 5th spot for Reimer. As it appears, Jabor has gotten around Bong in those proceedings, up to 9th, although it now has 12 seconds to climb back up to Manson. Say DJE Flat, since getting to the top end of the grid, has absolutely pulled away from Angry Walrus. 2.5 seconds. The gap now is Jazz is going to pick up his second 3-second penalty of the day. Oh, and Merck is going well off track. He'll come back on here after having cut some grass, exiting Speaker's Corner and heading into Puon. A little bit odd there, but he's regained his composure. The mowing blades have been turned off, and he's back on track. Oh, that's a big slide for Charlie Golf. That car was about full tilt on the way into the braking zone there, and this is what I'm talking about. It's mistakes like that we haven't seen really anybody make. And Charlie Golf has gone full. And let me tell you something as well. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I do race with more assists than the average person. I have tried no assist racing. It does not take a lot to get these cars to lock up. You push that pedal down about 50%, and that car really wants to go. Anything more than that, and the back end of the car absolutely swings around. I think that's what's happened with Charlie Golf there. As Angry Walrus now going to pick up another 3-second time penalty. He's up to 12. Jazz is going to get around Reimer in those proceedings. Manson is kind of poking his head in on this battle as well. As again, it still looks very gray and gloomy here, as now DJE Flat's advantage back to Angry Walrus has eclipsed nearly 3.5 seconds. Johnny Damon is actually quite close to Angry Walrus here. Remember, these two battled quite heavily earlier on when DJ Flat was no longer in the picture after that initial spin he had on the second lap. These two battled back, forth, left, right, and center. And we might be getting that more of the same now, although slightly different. Angry Walrus has picked up 9 seconds more penalty, and Johnny Damon is now, well, these two have accumulated, instead of battling for the top spot, they're now battling for second. Manson now could look to get around Reimer through Blanchimont. It's not quite going to happen this time by, and I'm thinking, is Johnny Damon... Oh, sorry, well, we'll have a look at this first. Angry Walrus finally enters the pit lane, as I believe this will only still be his first stop of the session. 25-lap-old medium tires. What will Angry Walrus do? Into the pit lane he goes. It will be the softs. Interesting choice. Anyute now up to 12 seconds of penalty as well, having picked up an additional 3. King Pro Player, now the fastest lap in the session, 1:45.464. Good lap. So now Johnny Damon has a 1.5 seconds over Charlie Golf, who's only got 7/10 back to Jazz. Another 7/10 back to Reimer, and about 3/10 back to Manson. These are currently the closest battles on track, minus that of Jabor. It's going to be side by side with Walrus here going down the Kemmel Straight, and I think that Williams is actually going to get ahead of the Aston Martin there. Yes, he has. Nicely done. Up to 9th. So about to begin lap 28 of 44. The laps are ticking down here by increments of 1 minute and 45 seconds. Idiot. Anyways, as they make their way up through, exiting Stavelot and in through Blanchimont now, DJE Flat does lead, 3.5 seconds over Johnny Damon, who does lead Charlie Golf now by 2 seconds. So Charlie Golf has actually lost an additional 0.5 second. Since I was just talking about him a few corners ago. Jazz is now within 4.5 of Charlie Golf. Reimer has dropped back a slight bit back to Jazz, 5.5. Manson has dropped back a little bit more to Manson. And Merck is about 2.5 seconds behind, trying to close in on this battle. Thankfully for him, he is on the hard tires. A halfway decently fresh set as well. At least for the drivers around him, it's really about the same, but anyway. Angry Walrus, 0.2 seconds behind Jabor. I don't believe he's going to find a move quite this time. Jazz is now going to have a look at Charlie Golf. Down the Kemmel Straight, wheel to wheel they go. Reimer looks on, may get one of them here. He's going to have a look at Charlie Golf. Now to the inside. Reimer, full send to the inside. Has he made it? Not quite. Wheel to wheel. Charlie Golf over the curb. Reimer gave him, I thought, plenty of space. And that McLaren, is now into the barrier. And that's a DNF. Charlie Golf loses it going through Malmedy. Our third safety car of the day. First off, as they go through Lecombe, he was side by side with Reimer. Reimer gave him, I thought, plenty of space. Charlie Golf picks up the penalty for going too far over the curb, spins the tire coming in through Malmedy, and that car finds the barriers in a heap. And we have a safety car on track. And now we have Merck, a drive-through penalty for speeding on the safety car. He's in the 6th position. That is not the penalty you needed. And Charlie Golf, remember, we saw him make a slight mistake not too long ago with braking in towards the final bus stop chicane there. And so now, that is a huge, huge moment, because still, I mean, this now really opens up the tire strategy for all these guys. I mean, we're going to come back to the line here with just over 15 laps to go. And realistically, that changes a lot tire strategically. DJE flat into the pit lane. Johnny Damon will follow suit, I'm sure. DJE flat, quite interested to see what tires he will choose. Let's find out. Into the pit lane he goes. We're assuming probably the medium tires here. That would be my guess, at least. And that's a good guess. Medium tires for DJE flat. Johnny Damon, I'm sure, will choose the same. Let's just find out here. Oh, it's going to be the soft tires for Johnny Damon. I guess I'm wrong. Soft tires as well for Jazz. DJE flat is the only driver to have actually chosen the medium tires currently from this round of stops, except for Manson. He's chosen them as well. But that is a really bold decision. We're on soft tires now with 15 laps to go. Now, what I will say is this is... Oh, I think... No, the game has told Walrus to give that spot back. I thought he had gotten ahead of Manson. Not the case. What I will say is this. No matter... As we play these games, when you're in the 50% sessions, it does obviously tone down the tire lives corresponding to the distance of the race you're in as well. 15 laps on this circuit is a lot on any tire compound, not just the softs. Or not just the mediums, the softs as well. These guys, this is a slight risk now, I think, being on these soft tires. I don't like that. Not that I think they're going to be in danger of puncture, but you're at the situation now where you are genuinely going to be absolutely going balls to the wall for the next 5 laps of the race, and then everything after that, you're going to be piddling around trying your best not to spin because of low grip. Yeah, that's a risk. That's a genuine risk. Well, safety car on track. I'll step aside until it sorts itself out, but goodness me, what a conclusion to this race we are about to have. So the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. We will restart on lap 31 of 44. The clock is definitely ticking down in this one, and well, what can I say is this, is that I'm losing my hope for rain, that much is for sure. Question is now, we've got all these guys on the soft tires. I still think that's a mistake. I think these guys on the mediums are going to be well better off by the end of the Grand Prix. Let's recap our penalties. Merck has a drive-through for speeding out of the safety car. DJE flat will claim the lead of the Grand Prix. Damon second. Jazz in third despite 6 seconds of penalty. Reimer will take fourth at that point. Angry Walrus, 22 seconds of penalty. How that's happened, I'm not entirely sure. We know he had at least 12 on track limits violations. He's picked up a 10er somewhere along the line. But we are back to green flag racing here, as Merck does not serve as drive-through this time. DJE flat leads, and this is going to be the exact opportunity for Johnny Damon to be able to get up to Merck and make it happen. If he does not, I'm not sure Johnny Damon can get up to back to a position where he can lead this Grand Prix. Because DJE flat already trying to put the moves like Jagger on Merck, and he's gone to the inside, and he's already making it happen. Back up to the top spot already for DJE flat. Surprised? You shouldn't be. He's been quick all day long, and he's absolutely deserved it. Despite starting on pole, spinning out on lap 2, and has now made his way back up to the top spot. Coming up closer to 10 laps to go as well in this 100% distance Grand Prix. Johnny Damon looks on and hopes for a mistake out of Merck. Of course, Merck still needs to serve that drive-through penalty. Jazz, I tell you what, Jazz has had a good result. Even if he ends up losing some spots with that 6-second penalties, this is going to be a result he can be proud of. He's put together a good race today. He's had very little to no drama, at least that I know of. And, yeah, for a race where I don't recognize this guy's name, I believe this is the first time I have called a race with him on it. I think he's done exceptionally well. As they make their way out of campus in Stavilo, heading towards Blanchemont now, it looks as if Johnny Damon is going to be next in line for that second spot, but King Pro Player getting around Manson. Side by side they go through Blanchemont, and it does look as if King Pro Player has gotten that one to go. Johnny Damon will outbrake Merck to the inside. That was a bold decision, knowing that Merck's got a pit anyways for that drive-through penalty. So he will tumble down the order now, as DRS is now enabled. That has not helped him, that's for sure. I think. Well, it's not like he can serve that on the safety car in-lap or the... yeah, I mean, this is his only opportunity, really. Had we had the old rules where DRS wasn't enabled until the second lap after the safety car, so we'd have the first lap, we'd have the second lap, so beginning of the third lap, this would have helped Merck, and he would have been in an okay spot still. This did not happen. Jazz will get round Johnny Damon, round the outside, up now to the second spot. Walrus will get round Reimer, despite obviously... Oh, pass in the grass, look at that one. Hauling ass pass in the grass, round the outside. Angry Walrus is up to third, despite having that penalty to his name. That was wild. So Reimer to the back end of the Sauber. Remember, these are the two immediate guys battling for that second spot. DJE Flat already has a 2-second advantage to the Haas behind him. That is massive for him. King Pro player to the back end of Manson here, making their way through Puan, and it appears for the time being they are even still losing time as we've got a Red Bull around. It is Agnote exiting Speaker's Corner. That car appears to have stayed at least in a halfway decent orientation here, and we are back to green flag racing. And I say that nothing could be further from the truth. He has lost the majority of the front wing on the right side, and that Red Bull is struggling. Having just been able to get himself caught back up after already, I believe, serving a drive-through penalty of his own, having a couple of incidents today already, we thought he was going to be potentially in a position to get himself back up to some normalcy here. Yeah, not the case. Johnny Damon now trying to look at get around Angry Walrus. Not going to happen quite yet. I think Walrus could potentially, if there's an ability to stop again, I think we'll be able to serve that tenor and get himself back down to 12 seconds. Still quite a hefty bunch of penalty here, and he'll be losing quite some spots. But at least he'll be kind of in a position where you can remain competitive. See, if this is Johnny Damon here, and I'm going to be honest with you, as a driver, I often felt this, that if you've got an overwhelming, overarching penalty like this, you should not be racing the cars ahead of you or behind you, really. You should be kind of, as Agnote has retired, that unfortunately being in the pit lane, you should not be racing these guys. Angry Walrus, of course, will be feeling different, and I don't blame him for it, because that's what a racer is, but as you are a driver in that situation, but that Johnny Damon is in, that Reimer's in, that is the most annoying thing that could possibly be going on right now, is that Angry Walrus is still in the way. I say in the way, you know what I mean. He's still on the track, that car's still driving, he has not ceded position to the cars around him, despite having that penalty, which he's going to lose anyway. Is that a real kind of wuss way of looking at it? Absolutely. But as a driver, you want the positions. On the same coin of that, that's also what Angry Walrus thinks. He wants to put this time behind the cars behind him. He wants to be able to salvage something despite the 22 seconds of penalty he has picked up at the expense of the cars around him. That will be upset that the cars around him will now not be able to get through him. Yeah, you could see where the logic kind of goes both ways there. What I will say, though, is this. Reimer, who's in a battle with Johnny Damon, is absolutely feeling my side of the argument, because Angry Walrus is in the way, and he's half a second ahead of him, and then another half a second up the road is Johnny Damon. So Reimer's absolutely got to cook here. Hey, by the way, 10 laps to go in this 100% distance Grand Prix. DJE Flat, who's had about an up and down of the day, who's had about as up and down of a day as such the stock market, finds himself back up to the top, and does lead Jazz by 3 seconds. Now, Jazz, on his 6 seconds of penalty, I believe will lose at least. Back down to 7th would be my guess, maybe 8th. Of course, we do have drivers back there as well with penalties, so that's always possible. Johnny Damon has gotten around Jazz then, up to the second spot on merit, that being into that move down the Kemmel Straight. Nobody else has really attempted anything for the time being. As we make our way now through Speaker's Corner and down through towards Puhan. And I will say this, despite Johnny Damon being on those soft tires, this is exactly what I feared with these soft tires, that he's going to spend all of the good grip for the first 5 laps of the stint on the soft tires and then not be able to gain any ground to DJE Flat on the fresh mediums. And lo and behold, I was correct about that, because these soft tire runners, despite putting together some good laps, they're not gaining any ground to the cars ahead of them. They're not being able to challenge DJE Flat whatsoever. And they're going to be the ones hurting at the end of the race, because there's still another 10 laps to go. I mean, bollocks. That's just not... I would not have done that. That seems like such a miscue on tire strategy. I would absolutely have been on the mediums, because DJE Flat, if you haven't noticed, on the mediums, compared to the 5-6 fellas behind him on the softs, and is still 3.5 seconds up the road, and is still pulling them. I don't know. Hindsight is 20/20, that's for sure. And right now, I think Damon, Jazz, Walrus, Reimer will definitely be agreeing with me on that. Though, hey, I could be wrong. Let's say DJE Flat makes a mistake. It has happened. It's happened already this race. Remember, lap 2, DJE Flat lost that car coming out of La Source. That dropped them all the way down to the tail end of the grid. Could happen again. Jazz trying to find the outside of Johnny Damon through Lacombe. It's not quite going to happen this time. Walrus kind of there as well. Reimer may have to cede position to his teammate of King Pro Player. King Pro's going to have a slight look to the inside as they make their way through Brussels. These two fellas, good friends on and off the track, but goodness me, have they had their share of moments on the track, and it's happened again. Rosberg and Hamilton, who? It's happened again. Of course, that one wasn't any sort of egregiously awful incident between them. These two guys, again, I know this. I know both of them. They're good people. They treat each other and they race very respectfully, but above all else, they are hungry. And they want to win. They want to pass. They want to make something exciting happen. And let me tell you, more often than not nowadays, fireworks happen when these two guys go wheel to wheel. Now, of course, within the final 10 laps of the session, we do have Johnny Damon, again, losing time to the back end of DJE Flat. Jazz has actually not been able to really challenge Johnny Damon again since being taken. He's down a second now. Walrus is going to be the next car in line to be able to, really get up and make the spot happen. Of course, again, Walrus is going to be losing several positions here. But at least for Walrus, he can say he's putting together some good laps and some good time. King Pro Player on the medium tires to the back end of Walrus as they go up through Eau Rouge and Radion. See if Walrus can take Jazz. Down the Kemmel Straight they go. Walrus is going to choose the outside. King Pro Player is next up in line to have a look at the Haas. And no, not quite. Not going to happen this time. I think, just a little bit too far behind. But again, the big story here, DJE Flat, really in a league of his own for the time being, as we do have Merc, I believe, stopping for some, medium tires. Merc stopping for the mediums here. Angry Walrus, 25 seconds in penalty. Walrus has retired! That is on track, and we've got a safety car. Whoa, he's done that one genuinely. That's exiting Speaker's Corner. 25 seconds in penalty, the car flings round, hits the inside wall. We've got a safety car with genuinely not that much time left. This has changed everything. You want to talk about some drama? This is the way. Nobody expected this race to end. And here we are. Genuinely, what do we do now? DJE Flat's going to come in. I think this would be the situation to choose the softs. Now we're all going to be just even Steven on tire strategy. This is huge. This is genuinely massive now as the two Mercedes. Well, Reimer's going to stay out on his soft tires. That's a bit of a bold choice. Johnny Damon. Wow, okay. This is not what I expected. Damon stays out. Jazz stays out. Reimer stays out. DJE Flat and the rest behind him, minus that of Bung and I think Merc as well, decide to pit. So DJ's actually lost a couple of positions there. He's down to 4th. He will now have to battle Johnny Damon and Reimer on track. Jazz is obviously in the mix. He does have that penalty, though. Wow, this is just such a crazy ending to this race. Coming up closer to the last 5 laps of the session. And we're in a position now where we don't really have to worry about tire strategy anymore. These guys are going to... Well, maybe I'm wrong. The top 3 still on 8-lap-old soft tires. DJE Flat on the fresh softs. King Pro and Manson as well fresh softs. Jabor is the only one who has stopped and has taken medium tires during that exchange. What a turn of events this is panning out to be. Coming to the green flag potentially with only about 5-6 laps remaining. 3 cars on 6 seconds worth of penalty. Of course, we do also have Merck on 3 seconds, as previously mentioned. Just wow. Well, we will stay with you here towards the end of the session. Safety car still on track, although I have a feeling that's going to change here any minute now. Or not. Nope, safety car still has not been able to make up its mind and come in. What do we see now? Bonget's actually going to enter. Sorry, that's our Manson. No, I'm an idiot. It is Bonget entering the pit lane. I don't know. That was a little bit of a weird exchange, that. Into the pit lane goes Bonget. It will be soft tires for him as well. That car will have to be caught back up to the grid. Of course, they'll have plenty of time to do so. Okay, so now... So let's recap with some tires. The top 6 cars on soft tires. Top 3, 9-lap-old softs. The back half 3 of that is on freshies. Jabor and Merck on the medium tires. Bonget on the softs. 6 seconds in penalty belong to Jazz, Manson, and Bonget. Merck, of course, on 3 seconds. Although has had his fair share of tribulation today, having to serve that drive-through penalty. I believe it was him, at least. I could be wrong. We'll get to the green flag with 6 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. 39, 40, 1, 2, 3, and 4. In what has been a stellar conclusion to this CCRL Elite Tier season. Just want to say, on behalf of myself, it has been a fantastic ride with you. And although it has to be said, we've kind of known the outcome of the championships for a little bit of a while now, it does have to be said that it has still been a pleasure joining you guys. And hopefully, I'm along for the ride with you on the next one. It's been a fantastic season, and I can't wait. Safety car will be in at the end of this lap. 6 laps are remaining. Who will take the cake here? Well, that's the question. It's a situation now. Well, I could be wrong. Let's just analyze this for a second. Reimer's in a position, a driver that has won several rounds this season. I don't believe has finished lower than 4th in the entirety of the campaign. I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me. He's in a position now where he doesn't appear to be the favorite to win this Grand Prix. I would actually still peg that as DJE Flat. Those fresh soft tires has been the quickest driver all day. Except the only problem is now is that DJE Flat's got 3 cars ahead of him, all hungry. Well, through the bus stop chicane, Johnny Damon seems to want to go now, and he will. Green flag back in the air here in Spa. As down the pit straight they go. Johnny Damon leads by a considerable margin over the Haas as we do look behind. Jabor is going to want to have a slight look around the outside of Manson. It's not going to happen this time, although they're still right close together. Oh, and contact there between Merck and Jabor. Those two cars have made contact. There's pieces of carbon fiber flying through the air on that. I don't believe any front wing has been lost, but still not ideal. Down the Kemmel straight now. Reimer around the outside of Jazz. DJ E flat under pressure, a lot of which from King Pro Player. Reimer breaking around the Haas in question. DJ E flat is next up the road. King Pro Player has got to get around DJ if he wants a shot at this win. And Jazz is actually going to do a little bit of blocking there. I don't like that. Into Brussels they go. To the inside still. As they make their way down the hill heading towards Puhan, let's see if DJ E flat will either be taken by the Mercedes or will he take the Haas as they make their way through. 5 laps to go at the line this time by, and will any of these drivers, these worthy contenders, will they be able to triumph over, for the time being, Johnny Damon? Gonna take a hell of a lot of doing, but I think it's possible. Johnny Damon does, however, lead by 0.9 of a second over Reimer. Again, Reimer has not seemed to be the fastest car on track today, as usually you could kind of peg him as he's right up there. Oh, look at this side by side. Whoa, and King Pro Player's gone massively over the track. He was wheel to wheel with DJ E flat, and incredibly enough, DJ E flat a 3-second penalty for multiple warning after that amount of collision with that of King Pro Player. That Williams is surely fuming at this point. Lots of contact was made, and now King Pro Player will find his way to the inside. And DJ E flat, when you thought rightfully deserved this win today, suddenly it does not appear he's got the best hand in the game. He's pulled out a full house, and the player to his left has now a flush. As to the inside, Jazz will get round Reimer. Johnny Damon, I hate to say this, I hate to say this on behalf of DJ E flat, seems to be walking away with this one 1.5 seconds up the road. A race that really is now going to be decided in the last 6 laps here. After DJ E flat led the beginning of the Grand Prix after starting on pole, spun out of position, fought his way back, stayed up there convincingly. Safety car comes out and now finds himself with 3 seconds of penalty in 4th, with King Pro Player, Reimer, and Johnny Damon looking to be the podium 3 with no penalties of their own. Of course, this is before steward reports, as Reimer around the outside of Jazz is going to get that second spot and now has 2 seconds to get up to Johnny Damon. As now DJ E flat, I thought there was within King Pro Player. Nah, not quite. Oh, look at this. He's wanted to go around Jazz. It's not quite happened. These fellas are so close to each other now. It's getting very, very dicey. Meanwhile, of course, Jabor could be picking up spots as well. He doesn't have any penalty. DJ will try the inside on Jazz. Has a quick look, backs out of it. At the line this next time will be 3 laps to go. Reimer now behind by 2 seconds over Johnny Damon. Through Erosion Radion they go. King Pro Player now going to have a look. He's going to choose that left side, but the Haas is in the way. The Williams will have the inside. Oh, he's properly boxed in now. It's like a police chase happening as King Pro Player has nowhere to go and is not going to make any progress as DJ E flat does get around the Haas. Oh, and there's contact with the Haas, and actually it's King Pro Player that ends up in the barrier. This race can't be normal if it wanted to. Goodness me. Wheel to wheel, and it now looks DJ E flat to the inside of Reimer. He's made that one happen. DJ E flat now has a hell of a task, because the question is, number 1, will he be able to get up to Johnny Damon? Number 2, does Johnny Damon have like 2 warnings? And could he pick up a 3-second penalty and get round be overtaken genuinely for position by DJE Flat. At that point, the win will be handed over to Reimer. But still, this is a really odd turn of events here at this final sequence. Johnny Damon, for the time being, I would say, is actually now losing time to DJE Flat. Since DJ has gotten to that second position, Johnny Damon has lost almost now, and only, about 5 to 6/10 of a second. DJE Flat has just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with 3 laps to go. Johnny Damon's got to drive clean within the white lines and within the ketchup and mustard themed runoff for the next 3 laps of the Grand Prix. That is his task. He does not have to necessarily worry about DJE Flat getting around him right now. Of course, he doesn't want the Williams to overtake him. The question is DJE Flat, even if he did get around Damon, I don't think he'd be able to put 3 seconds back to him in 2 laps. Johnny Damon's just got to drive a clean end to this Grand Prix, and he will have won it. Johnny Damon, by the way, started second on the same row as DJE Flat. DJ, of course, led the first lap, spun out at a turn 1 on the second go-round. Oh, I tell you what a conclusion we've got here. King Pro Player has actually sent back Manson through Puon. That's interesting. I'm not quite sure he's done that. King Pro Player, I think, will at least be gaining 1 position with Jazz's penalty, and I think he'll probably be getting around Jazz on track anyway for the time being. We'll have to wait and see. As at the line this time will be 2 laps to go. Oh, meanwhile, DJE Flat is now within a second of Johnny Damon. Damon's having to do everything in his power to just play conservative right now and stay within the lines. He's got 2 laps left to defend. He's not got a lot of energy store either. DJE Flat could very well be on the way, and this is going to sound quite rude, to pulling off an upset, as King Pro Player to the inside of Jazz, and he's going to take that 4th spot on merit. 3.5 of a second. Meanwhile, by the way, Reimer still 2 seconds behind, is not going to be getting any closer as he has DRS. DJ will now choose the left side down the Kemmel Straight for the penultimate time, and around the Sauber and up to the point, at least for now. Of course, still has the penalty. Damon hasn't got to worry about that right now as King Pro Player and Jazz still side by side, battling it out through Lacombe. Johnny Damon's got to drive a lap and a half of clean racing here. He's not got to worry about the time delta. He's got to worry about the white lines above all else. Because right now, even this, Reimer's behind by 2.97 and is now outside of 3 seconds. Johnny Damon picks up a penalty. It is a pure race on speed between the top 2, and that's a battle I don't think Johnny Damon's able to win. DJE Flat has been the quickest driver all day long, now has the fastest lap on, oh, by the way, 8 lap younger soft tires. But for the time being, Johnny Damon is still okay. Will he be able to stay ahead, at least with the delta and with the 3-second penalty that he doesn't quite have yet? Could it happen? He'll go into the bus stop chicane this time, behind by 8.5 of a second as they exit the corners. He's now outside of a second. DJE Flat has to find 2 seconds in the final lap of the Grand Prix to be able to win here, or he's got to hope for a Christmas miracle and that Johnny Damon gets some sort of error and picks up a 3-second penalty. 1.1 is... Oh, Jazz has gone round into the barriers, exiting La Source. Doesn't appear that he's lost any front wing. The track will stay green aside from that sector. 1.3, that's the gap. Johnny Damon looks on and hopes that a mistake is on the way as Jabor is going to pick up 3 seconds in penalty. As we do have some good battling going on here. Jabor has taken both Merck and Manson, and maybe even Bong as well in through there. That one was crazy. Jabor up to 5th. He's got the best of the penalties of the drivers behind him. This is looking a good battle going on back here. But now, as Merck does... I don't even know what the hell's happened there. DJ E Flat is now ahead of Johnny Damon by 2 seconds with a half a lap remaining. This is insane. Is Johnny Damon going to be able to hold on? Is Merck going to be able to get around Bong it on track? Heading in through Campus and Stavilo for the final time, 2.2. It is 0.8 of a second between DJ E Flat and a win. Johnny Damon has got to keep himself competent here, but he is still losing time. He has used every ounce of the energy store into the chicane for the final time, 2.6, and this is where DJ had the better go of it last time round. Exiting the final corner, crosses the line. Johnny Damon is right there. Is he going to be able to hold on? No, he won't. He's short by less than 1/10, and it's DJ E Flat, the winner. Unbelievable. DJ E Flat, your winner. God almighty, what a race that was. And for Hotspot and the CCRL, it has been a pleasure joining you this season. We will see you soon for another race calendar of the CCRL Elite Wednesday tier. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.